think you should train the abdominal muscles, the I guess rotational muscles like the obliques or the lateral flexions, as well as like the low back. Like I'm going to include all of that into like that trunk area. Um, Here's where it gets a little hairy, especially, and a lot of bodybuilders will probably be very similar on their take, right? It's a muscle. If you want to train a muscle, you have to give it load and then you have to give it rest. You can't just do 150 ab work every day and it just gets those protrude more, right? So they need load. Um, Here's where you're gonna get into trouble with these two things. Number one, like in athletics, you train for go, not just for show. Um, so like the ab work that you do is probably going to look different than the ab work that the average gym person does. You're probably going to get on a GHR, probably going to do essentially like a T-spine rotation with a weight. It's going to fire you up, that's for sure, but it's not just hitting a couple crunches. You might do like a hanging like leg switch where you're getting the separation of the hip flexors and the extensors to work together. Will they feel it in their abs? Yes. Is the like primary abdominals being the main mover or the main purpose of the exercise? No, but it is essentially everything that's happening from the pelvis to the top of the rib cage or like the bottom of the rib cage. So like the training should look different. Am I going to throw in ab wheels every once in a while for them? Yeah, or say hanging leg raises, whatever that might be, just to let them have something and then obviously get it under a better load. But as you train something, it gets larger. That's what people have a misconception with. And like if you look at like a bodybuilder, they'll be like, yeah, like a lot of times like I'm gonna diet to get my abs instead of having them larger. And a good example is like you look at like a CrossFit athlete, like the top CrossFit athletes are a bodybuilder. Which one of them probably does more ab work? Probably
For
the
sure,
CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Yeah. A CrossFitter's body is much different than a bodybuilder's body. A bodybuilder's body will have that like very slim taper towards the waist where you get like this V look. Whereas a CrossFitter is probably going to have far more protruding abs on a regular basis, but their torso is a little bit boxier. And that's because it's inherently, it is a little bit more muscular. Um, as that develops, it will kind of fill out. And as it fills out, it looks a little bit more square than it is kind of in that taper. Whereas like the diet will lead you to show the abs more and probably get that more iconic look that the average person is probably looking for. Is that going to be more structurally sound in athletics? Probably not. The thinner something is, probably the more frail it is. Does it look prettier? That's up for debate. I think the average person and the way that the bodybuilding standards are is probably, yeah. It's not going to be the functional thing. Also, like you're not going to walk around at 4% body fat. And anyone who tells you that they are as an athlete, you're an idiot. Like people diet for 6 to 12 or sorry, 16 weeks just to get to 4% to step on stage where they can have a death from a single paper cut. You don't walk around like that eating Cocoa Puffs like and dining hall food. Like that's not true. Um, but my point being is like it should be done. I do it. We're going to do it more so in those kind of aspects or rotational movements when it comes to like med ball throws, cable pulls, things like that, to where we're training the function out. I hate the idea of like saying like we're doing functional training, but like we're training a movement versus just the muscle itself. Whereas I want you to be able to have a ground based movement and kind of rotate through and feel that, whether it be just slower than what you do in sporting action or even something you're not exposed to, but preparing you for that. Yes, it will probably inherently build that musculature, which is good because it's going to then allow it to move freer in space. I think that is more important for sports than having just protruding abs.